Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing series on the MiSTer FPGA DE10 Nano project. And today we're doing a review and core guide for the MSX and MSX2 core. I made this a while ago and I'm remaking it now because a user on the Discord's Vampier really pushed me to get it done because he's probably the biggest MSX fan out there, and he did send me some more footage for this for fun because he wanted to be involved, so big thanks to him. Before you get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below and hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But I would say this is the easiest PC core to get set up, and that's not a knock at any of the other cores, but you have options for CPU speed and type, but all we really need to do is get a virtual hard drive image into your game folders and execute the core and load it up, and you're pretty much good to go. This is pretty seamless, and there are a lot of other options, and maybe you want to join Discord and ask around, but once you get that virtual hard drive image on and mount it and execute it, you're going to get this option right here, and we can do sofa run, and we'll get back to that in a moment. But you're going to need a keyboard just to get this set up in the first instance, so keep a keyboard next to you, but once you get sofa run going, you're pretty much entirely on a control pad, and that is going to be great. This is what the old screen looked like. The new one is going to look more like this. It's much more fun, and it even has Mr. Coon on there. Big thanks to Vampier for getting this over to me, and like I said, I will leave a link down below. But all you're going to do is run sofa run, and then you're going to get menus of different games in that virtual hard drive. It's going to be alphabetized and numerically foldered, and all you need to do is open those up for MSX 1 or 2, and you're going to see a big listing of games that you can play on the system, and loading them up is pretty quick. You'll have disks, you'll have hard drives, you'll have ROMs, so you're going to kind of explore around those folder images and see what you want. But let's just pop into a random folder here and see what we have, and Aleste is an amazing game, definitely one I recommend, but you're going to see so many games that sound familiar and a ton that aren't going to sound familiar whatsoever, and towards the end of the video I will give you some recommendations, and so will Vampier. But running Aleste here, this is pretty much in real time. You're going to see that you have a button that you can launch the ROM with, the A button, return, or space. That's why you can use a control pad once you get past the sofa run screen. And I will say that what is here on the MSX core is absolutely spectacular. I'm sure a lot of you probably really haven't played the MSX. It was massive in Japan. It did not really get to North America whatsoever, just like the Sharp X68000. Now, this is definitely not on par with the X68000 graphically or audio-wise, but there are a ton of amazing games and a ton of really historical games available on this core that you definitely want to be playing, and you probably haven't yet. And that's the fun part about MiSTer, is you're going to be able to experience things you've never played before, and we have to absolutely love that. And when I mean this core is really easy to get up and running, I mean it. All you're going to do is take that link down below for the VHD file, you're going to unzip it, and you're going to put it in the MSX folder where you would put any other game. It is a drag and drop procedure, that's all you need to do, and you will be playing MSX. And like I said, start looking at lists of MSX games you want to check out. I will show you some here, but if you want to reset it, just go ahead and click that boot button, and you're going to be right back at the menu to go ahead and pick a different game. It is seamless, and I love just navigating through and picking games I've never heard of before and just checking them out. But of course, you know, we have something like Vampire Killer, the pseudo remake, pseudo different version of the NES original Castlevania. It's very strange, I like it, but I can never figure it out. But you also get some of the first instances of the Metal Gear franchise. It didn't start with Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1, it started over on the MSX, and it looks absolutely stunning on this core. Everything looks and sounds exactly like it should, and like I said, because I'm sure most of you don't actually own an MSX computer, myself included, I just use the MiSTer core. This is an amazing way to experience all these games, but they also sound great on the core, so go ahead and listen for like 45 seconds and I'll come back and talk more about what you need to be doing with the core. Enjoy! And experiences like that is why you need to play this core, because when I'm telling you that there's some really historical and amazing games on the MSX and MSX2, I'm not lying. Especially because the original developer of this platform has decided to release an MSX3. I'm not sure if you guys saw that in the news, but Google it. It is one of the weirdest news stories I've ever read, but it's also absolutely amazing that something like that is going to be happening. So MSX is going to be getting even cooler as time goes on, and depending on the hardware on that, who knows, maybe there'll be an MSX3 core for MiSTer one day. But the games on this just look fantastic. It kind of looks like a more powerful NES. This isn't going to be up to the Super Nintendo spec. It's not going to be a Sega Genesis, and it's definitely not going to be a Sharp X68000. This just feels like a slightly more powerful Nintendo Entertainment System with a bunch of games you've never heard of on it. And that is why I love the MiSTer project so much, because not only do I get to experience new things or things in a different way, but a lot of you who don't have this insane amount of hardware that I have sitting behind me get to experience them as well. And of course, it even has a port of Roston on it. It's not the best port ever, but Roston is one of my favorite games of all time, so you owe it to yourself to be playing some Roston. But again, the MSX does really well with audio, so go ahead and listen to Roston for like 30 seconds and I'll come back and give you that showcase of amazing games to play. Enjoy! Yeah, the soundtrack sounds good for an MSX game. It's definitely not up to the arcade original, but it sounds great for what it is. But moving over to the section where I talk about all the amazing experiences to have on this core, Vampire Killer here is the MSX version of Castlevania on the NES. MSX, NES, a lot of letters to say there. I'm glad I got them right. This is unlike the game you know and probably love. I've played through this. It is very confusing. It's like a completely different take on the NES original. It is more like a maze Metroidvania-like game than it is the NES version, and you'll see we have a key there. Sure, you get a key in Rondo of Blood, but never in the original NES version. But this is a ton of fun to experience, and I'm assuming most people have probably not played the MSX version of Castlevania, but definitely check it out. It's going to be on that VHD file I linked below, and if you have any issues getting that installed, just leave me a comment. But like I said, you just unpack it and drag it to the games folder for MSX and you boot it. It is as simple as that. Now let's move on to some more of the graphically interesting showcases on the MSX2. Feedback here is a pseudo 3D game a la Space Harrier, and the effect that it is pulling off is quite good. Obviously you can see where some of the inspiration from this came from, but the fact that this is running on the MSX in and of itself is quite interesting. But there's a ton of good shmups as well, something like Alest 2 here, another amazing game that you should definitely check out and play, and this is one that Vampier sent over to me. He is a huge MSX fan, and if you need any help with this outside of what I'm providing to you, if you join the official MiSTer Discord and just ask him, I'm sure he'd be happy to help because he loves this platform. But back on the original MSX, don't forget this is the MSX, MSX2, and MSX2 Plus core. You have Penguin Adventure. This is one of the more well-known games for the MSX, and I mean honestly, running around as a penguin, falling in holes and collecting fish, it's a ton of fun as well. But the MSX also made some history. It's the first platform where Puyo Puyo was ever featured on, and this is as good as Tetris. Not as big, but as good, and I actually prefer it to the original Tetris game. Space Mambo, we showed you a little bit before, but another epic shmup. This console has shmups for days on it, and you have other sort of platformy games as well, like here, the Maze of Gallius, I think I'm pronouncing that right. It definitely has that super 8-bit PC looking thing going on, but I love it. And Zack here, a full RPG in English, and when are you going to get that? There's even an amazing Bomberman game, and if you know anything about my channel, you know I love Bomberman. But that is the MSX core for MiSTer. Like I said, out of all the PC cores, it is by far the easiest to get set up and running, and it also has an amazing library. Nothing wrong with the Sharp X68000 or the DOS core, the Amiga core. Those just require more steps, and I've gone over 2 of the 3 of those in the past. If you want to see an Amiga video from me, leave me a comment down below because I've still been putting that one off. But the MSX is a historical platform in Japan and a lot of other places in the world. It was also big in the Middle East and Europe. It's weird that it never made it to North America. But there's a ton of fun to be had here, and with that VHD file, just a quick drag and drop, you're going to be playing all of it. And like I said, if you don't think you want to play MSX, give it a go, and I think you'll enjoy it. At least give Bomberman a shot, because it's a Bomberman RPG and you gotta love that. Short of that, leave me a comment down below if you got any questions. I will be back next week with more MiSTer videos. I'll have videos for the week as well. But like I said, big thanks to Vampier for helping out on this video. He wanted to be part of it. I'm happy to have him do it. He's a huge MSX enthusiast, and we need those in the community. Short of that, I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy a little bit more Bomberman. Bye bye.